Hello everyone, welcome to this Java tutorial for beginners. In today's video, we will look at the common ways to print output to the console. So without wasting time, let's get started. Now let us look at the first method to print the output to the console. So here we have this print method, right? And what we do is we print the text hello and the caffeinated programmer separately, right? So let me run this program. So let me compile and execute it. And as you see, we have the output printed in the same line. Hello, the caffeinated program. So what your print method does is it will print the output to the same line and it will not move the cursor to the next line. So that's the reason you have this output displayed in a single line, right? So if you want to print the text hello and the caffeinated programmer in the separate line, you need to add this escape character /n, right? And your escape characters are nothing but a special symbol that have meaning to the compiler and are treated differently, right? So as soon as the compiler encounters this /n, so it means that n stands for new line and it will move the cursor to the new line. So let me run this program. So let me compile and execute the program and the output should be displayed in the separate line. And as you see, we have the outputs, the hello and the caffeinated programmer displayed in the separate lines, right? So here I've modified the program and what I'll do is I'll print the numbers from 1 to 10 in the same line. So let me run this program. So let me compile and execute the program. And as you see, we have the outputs 1 to 10 displayed in a same line. So here in this program, I've tried to simulate the download action, right? So when you're downloading something in a console application, you must have seen this 10% downloaded, 20% downloaded and so on, right? So we'll try to simulate that action. And don't worry about this keywords throws and this statement thread.sleep right now. We will discuss them in the later videos. But what you need to care about is about this escape character called the carry if written, and it is used to bring the cursor to the starting point of a line without changing the line, right? So let us run this program. Now let us compile and see the program in action. So let me execute it, and as you see, the program is displaying 7% downloaded, 10% downloaded and so on. So let us complete this until 100% and let us wait for a few seconds and the download should be completed, right? And you must also notice that it is displayed in the same line, right? It is not moving the cursor in the next line, right? All right, we have completed 90% and yes, you can see we have this download complete statement printed, right? And one final thing what you need to know about the print statement is that you cannot write something like this, inside the parentheses you need to write any sort of values. It can be a text, number, character or any other value, because if you leave this empty then you will get the compilation error. Now let us look at the Println method in Java. So we have this text hello and the caffeinated programmer, and I'm using this Println method to print those text. So let me run this program. Now let me compile and execute the program. And as you see, we have the outputs displayed in Newline, right? We have this hello in one line and the caffeinated programmer printed in the next line. All right. So your print line is used to print the information on individual line, right? So as soon as this information is printed, then the cursor is moved on to the next line. All right. And one thing you need to know is that unlike your print method, you can write println method like this, system.out.println, and the parentheses can be left empty. And if I compile this, there should be no compilation error. Now let us talk about the printf method in Java. But before that, let us look at this simple program, and what it does is, we have this three variables I, J and K, and we have initialized them with 898 and 998 respectively, and we are going to iterate this loop for 4 times, right? Because I is equal to 8 and it should be I less than 12, and we are incrementing the value of I in the print statement itself, right? So let me run this program. Now let us compile this program and let us execute it. And as you see, we have the following output, right? But as you can see, the output is not formatted properly. So this is where your printf method comes into picture. Now in the same program, instead of using the println method, I have used this printf method, right? And don't worry about this text right now. We will discuss them in the later part of the video. So first, let me run this program. Now let me compile and execute the program. So let me execute it. And as you see, we have this beautifully formatted output. Now let us understand the information that is passed in the printf method. So in printf method, the first thing we have is the format string part, and this is usually enclosed within the inverted commas, right? And later on, everything is your values to be formatted, right? So this is your format string, and you can have this any number of values that need to be formatted. All right. Before we talk about the format string part, let me remove this numbers before the dn, right? Compile the program once again. So I've removed the numbers, right, in the format string part. Now let me run this. Now let me compile and execute the program. And as you see, we have this output. So as you must have noticed that we have the output printed in the following order. First the variable I, then variable J, and finally the variable K, right? Now suppose we want to change the order. So we want this variable K to be printed first and variable I to be printed at the end, right? So how we can do this? So what I will do is, instead of this I++, I'll write K++. And here, instead of K++, I'll make it I++. And now let me run this program. Now let us compile the program and execute it. And as you see, we have the output printed in the following order. We have the variable K, then the variable J, and finally the variable I, right? Now coming back to the program, let us understand what is the meaning of this %d, right? So in printf method, this %d represents, you need to replace this with any of the integer data type, right? So as soon as the printf method encounters this %d in the format string, it needs to be replaced with any of the integer data type, right? Now you must also have a question that how it determines which value to put first, which to put second, and so on. So this is where your values part comes into picture. So your leftmost value is your first value. Then second to the leftmost value is your second value, and so on. So as soon as the program encounters this first occurrence of %d, it will simply replace with the first value, right? If this is the second occurrence, then it will replace with the second value, and so on. Now what we'll do is we'll put the numbers back before the d, right? So we have 4, 6 and 4. So what are this number representing? So basically this number represents the number of character positions this value occupies. So what do we mean by that? So suppose you have this value as a single digit value, suppose 1, right? And since this occupies 4 character space, so what will happen is there will be leading white spaces, and since this occupies 4 character positions, so you have 1 digit number, right? So there will be 3 leading white space, right? Similarly for this, 6D, if there is a single digit number, then there will be 5 white space before the number. All right. So suppose for this 4, if there is a 3 digit number, then there will be a single white space before the number. All right. So that's the meaning of this 4 before the D part, right? Now what I will do is I will compile and execute the program once again, and the output should be formatted properly. And as you see, we have the output formatted properly. So since we have this 4, so it occupies 4 character space, right? And here you can see clearly that it had appended a white space since it is a 3-digit number. But if it was a 4-digit number, then there was no white space appended before the number, right? And here it was a 6 character spacing number, right? So since it is a 3-digit number, so there are 3 leading white spaces. Now let us see how we can align this to the left hand side, right? So this number is right justified. How we can make this left justified, right? So we want to, instead of having a leading white space, we need to have the white space in the rear part. So how we can do this? So in order to display the value in the left justified manner, what we need to do is simply add this negative sign before the D portion, or like suppose we have this 4D, so we need to add this negative sign. So what will happen, our number or the values will be left justified, right? And here it will be right justified. So let me run this program once again. Now let us compile and execute the program. And as you see, we have this output, the values are left justified, right? So it is printed on the left hand side, while the other 2 fields have the right justification, right? So if you're working with the floating point values, so instead of %d, which represents integer data types, so you need to use %f. So %f represents your floating point values, right? So it will fetch the floating point value. So let us run this program. Now let me compile the program and let us execute it. And as you see, we have the following output, 2.123300, right? And if we want to print just 2 decimal values, then what we can do is we can simply write 0.2f, and what will happen is we'll just get the output as 2.12, right? And you must note here that if the value is greater than 5, then it will be rounded off to the nearest value. So let us run this program. So let me compile and execute it. And as you see, we just have the output as 2.1. Now let us understand this %s. So basically it means that you replace this with any of the object, and it can be your text as well. So let me run this program. Now let me compile and execute the program. And as you see, we have this Gaurav replaced for %s, right? So that is it for the today's video. And don't forget to subscribe for more Java programming videos like this. And I will see you until next time.